Morning, Craig. Welcome back. You had a great adventure last week, but I must say you probably and you were just wise enough to keep away from the news. But actually, you missed quite a lot, as you might guess.
Well, I did unplug, and I must say it was a Trump-free week. It felt good. Nobody asked me about it. I was up in Vermont at a motorcycle rally. Nobody wanted to talk about it. Everybody wanted to talk about everything but politics. So, yeah, I'm back, and you didn't straighten that much out. I must say, I'm
Yeah.
disappointed.
Well, actually, I'd be sort of interested in a couple of things that the people up there were talking about because they probably give you a better idea of what's going to happen this fall than you do listening to Trump and all the BS that comes out of the White House and all the nonsense surrounding it.
It's interesting, my friend Lee Atwater, the late Lee Atwater, who was campaign manager for George H.W. Bush's campaign in 1988. When we would hit down periods, and we had enough plenty of down periods, he would sometimes jump on a plane and fly somewhere and just talk to people, and it is interesting. And I there's no question that on the minds of even the people that drive vehicles that get 40, 50 miles to the gallon or more, fuel prices is something that's a concern to them, vacationing, something a concern to them. But, but my impression overall, and this was a wide diversity of people, although I would say most north of 50 years old and a lot of guys, some women as well, some couples, but they were kind of just getting away from it all.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place, as you know. It was great fun to travel, and people were socializing. It was not only was I not getting questioned about politics, just eating with people and listening to conversations
Yeah.
around you. It's not what they were talking about. They were talking about where they were going to go, whether they were camping, or whether they were staying in places. So I don't know. It feels like at least the people I was around wanted a break, and had chosen a way to get away that got them quite a ways from the realities we face here in the
Yeah,
Washington D.C. area.
you were just you were up in Vermont, right?
Yeah, Essex Junction, Vermont, near Burlington.
Yeah, we were up last summer. We were up in Killington, and it's just it is a different world. But the very important point that people are just talking about how they, basically how they get by, how they, you know, bring some joy to their lives, uh, and all this nonsense that we've had down in Washington and emanating from the Trump administration, and it's got to. I mean, my guess is that more and more they're seeing consequences like high gas prices. I mean, one of the things you missed last week was the inflation rate was up. Very considerably, I think the highest in 2 or 3 years. Uh, and then those are the things that really affect the lives of people. Uh, but you did miss a lot, I think you got back for the weekend, and so you saw. I mean, the weekend in many ways is the essence of Trump. You, you have this unbelievable, gross event at the White House for his birthday, and tries to make it part of the 250th anniversary celebration of the Declaration of Independence. Uh, my guess is the founding fathers didn't really envision uh, cage fights on the White House lawn. Well, they didn't. There was no White House, but on the on hallowed grounds, the public grounds, uh, having the White House. Having dressing, turning the treating rooms, those glorious rooms in the White House into dressing rooms, having. I saw a clip last night of one of these fighters uh, I guess it may have been one of the preliminary things, the weigh-in or something that they did in front of the Lincoln Memorial, where he was sort of spitting on himself. I mean, it just that just it's Trump with the grossness, the garishness, all the commercialism, advertising for Trump's crypto fraud. You know, basically putting the corruption on display, all you know, and that's the essential Trump. But the other thing that happened, and because he had to have his deal, because he is, of course, the great deal maker, and so he unveils this phony deal. Now we'll see if anything is signed, but even if it is, it's really a phony deal on Iran. Uh, the consequences of all this craziness of Trump is that he also makes stupid policy decisions, and he made a mistake to go into Iran. He got and you know, after saying he was going to obliterate their civilization and demand unconditional surrender. We saw unconditional surrender, only we were the ones who surrendered. It's just incredible. And now he's trying to sell this deal, which, as far as I can tell, uh, uh, because they won't say anything publicly, but from what all the reporting indicates that none of our objectives were met. It's not really a deal. He claims that Iran now says it won't have make nuclear weapons, but of course that was the first sentence in the Obama agreement that he threw out, and there's no real agreement on that. The agreement is that they're going to negotiate it, and something that took 18 months last time to negotiate. They're going to figure it out in 60 days.
Hey, on the 60-day thing, the part that I don't get, and I have been catching up on this faster than the fighting, I will say, but is, so what's different about the next 60 days from the past 60 days? Because we've been talking for the past 60 days, except that it looks like there may be access to some or all of the $300 billion that the Iranians want for behaving properly. I mean,
that's the other thing, and I guess he bragging about opening the Strait of Hormuz. Of course, it was open before he started this war. And it's not going to be open in nearly the way that it was then when it was an international waterway, because Iran is still going to control it. And I saw this morning that he's been bragging there are going to be no tolls, and Iran says, "Yeah, we're not going to have tolls. We'll just have fees." It's just it is so bizarre. But Craig, you missed a bunch of other stuff too, because when you look at the overall impact of what Trump has done, what he said, he didn't care about inflation, he didn't care about people's economic situation, really, doesn't care about the Iran war, any of this. All he has done is dug the hole deeper for Republicans as we look to the fall election. But you missed a couple other things too that were important. He appointed as acting director of intelligence Bill Pulte. I happen to know Bill Pulte. He served for a little while. He's a very wealthy man. He's big. The Pulte family is a big housing family, developing family in Michigan, and he was a graduate of my school, Northwestern. And so when you have somebody from a family like that with that kind of money, he immediately was put on the board of advisors of my school. So I served with him, and he was a young man and very young and nice guy. Went off very quickly, but in the administration, he's been a hatchet man. And basically, when Trump appointed him, he said he wanted him to interfere in the elections. And then he appointed Todd Blanche for permanent attorney general. And I think those appointments, plus some of the reporting that's come out in Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan's new book about Epstein and about trying to you know, and habeas corpus and a few other things. All of that and what he said about California uh, in the California primary election, all that seems to me to be foreshadowing what is going to be the greatest threat to democracy of the Trump administration, which is that he really doesn't care. He's not doing anything to help try to win the election, so he's going to try to figure out how to steal it. And
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a big issue for the rest of this year.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You know, the other takeaway from my traveling that's germane to this discussion is I really stayed off the interstate. So I was on back roads, going through little towns. There were American flags out in
Yeah,
every little town all over. There were no Trump signs. There was
yeah,
one old sign on a barn or something I saw,
right.
but just one. And, okay, this is Vermont, but on the other hand, you get the feeling that the kinds of things people are concerned about, even those who supported Trump in his 2 elections or 3 elections,
Yeah,
efforts, they're just tired of this. And it's not what he's doing doesn't relate, as we've said so often, to what's affecting people, the pocketbook issues, the healthcare concerns they have, that sort of thing. And I do think he's digging a deeper and deeper hole for a Republican majority. And honestly, I don't, if I'm concerned as you are, but if races are really close, yeah, maybe you can put your thumb on the scale. But I have a feeling a lot of these races that we think might be close are not going to be nearly as close as people suspect they are. It just seems like he's making it very difficult for the Republican leadership to remain in place.
yeah. The thing I believe though, I agree with that. I mean, I hope the election is so overwhelming that he really, there's nothing he can really do about it. Even though, as we saw in 2021, he's willing to go to large extremes to stay in power. And one of the things that troubles me most is he has made so much money, and his family has made so much money from this. I mean, I think now estimates are about $4 billion in the increase in family net worth, and and he spent so much of this time. Incidentally, you may have seen that his efforts to refurbish the reflecting pool have sort of backfired because they unleashed all this algae, which has turned it green instead
Green.
of swimming pool blue. But with his arch and his ballroom and his, now they will never know the name of the Kennedy Center because they're keeping it covered because his name was forced off of it. But with all these, self-honoring deals and all this money, his incentive to stay in power is going to be just enormous.
Yeah.
So that we're going to really have to keep our eyes open for the
Yeah.
rest of this year.
Hey, you're catching me up on a lot of things. I appreciate it. But what the heck's happening out in California? I mean, the California governor is talking about how this is the best thing, or the press are talking about how it's one of the best things that could happen. He's going to be investigated by the Trump Justice Department. What's behind all that? I know you know him well.
Well, I haven't talked to him about it, but I mean, it seems to me it's just more of Trump had under this Todd Blanchard administration, which seems to be willing to do whatever bidding Trump wants. They just turned this Justice Department into a retribution agency. And uh, you remember the first impeachment was about trying to investigate his future opponent in Joe Biden.
Right.
I think he sees Gavin Newsom as a future opponent, and he's going to try to get dirt on him and or on his wife Jen, who's I think a pretty established in the film industry on her own right. And I gather they're going after her taxes, or which is also ironic because part of the deal Trump made on his suit was that
Right.
his family would never be audited, so they can just go continue to steal from the IRS.
Right.
But it's just another part of the retribution campaign, and I suspect those things will continue to go on as long as he's in power. I hope the Republicans need to regain some dignity, and maybe blocking Todd Blanche's confirmation be one way to start.
Yeah. Todd Blanche hasn't wanted any friends up on Capitol Hill
Right,
based on
right,
the testimony.
right.
Okay, well, listen,
Uh,
it's good to get caught up, and
right.
we'll be back at this again on Thursday.
Yeah.
But
Well,
good to
welcome
see you.
back.
Thank you.
We missed you,
Thank
and
you.
I'm sure all the viewers of Fromm and Fuller are relieved that the morning brief is back on the air.
We're back on the air. Okay.
All
All
right.
right. We'll
See
see
ya.
you later.
Take care. All right.